let me just tell you, you are destined for even greater things. You are. It's not just veganism. I would challenge you to think further than veganism. What up, Salty Crew? Welcome back to another video. Man, it's been a long time since I've done one of these sit-down, heart-to-heart videos, but it's necessary. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. So I wanted to make this video specifically for new vegans or people who are curious and making the plunge to either plant-based or from plant-based to vegan, or whatever jump you want to make. You might even be going vegetarian. But I wanted to give a little bit of my 2 cents, my advice on things that I wish someone would have told me when I first went vegan. When you first are learning about all this information, your eyes are opening for the first time, metaphorically, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe no one ever told me this before. You're kind of mad at your parents, at society, at the world, because you feel like you've been in the dark your entire life. So you're very passionate. You're excited, but you're also angry at the same time. So with that combination of passion, anger, excitement, it can be a lot for the world around you, the people in your life, and just you in general. And I think it's important to take a step back and just realize and recognize a couple things that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So number 1, advice to new vegans for 2019. Address your eating disorder before you fully go vegan, or before you announce it to everyone, because then after that people will just hold you to this high vegan standard and they will constantly comment on it and be like, hey, is that vegan? I thought you were vegan. I would just wait until you address your inner turmoil or struggles with food. And you might be vegan now or a new vegan and you didn't even know that you had an eating disorder. For me, I went vegan and I did not identify with anyone who had had a past of eating disorders or disordered eating. As the years went by, the longer I was vegan, the more I recognized my issues with food. And there are certain things that are promoted in the vegan community, especially back 2-3 years ago when I first started, that I think are detrimental to people who are either in the depths of an eating disorder or don't even know that they have one. They encourage you to eat more, to eat until you're completely satisfied. And to someone who has an eating disorder, that could mean a lot of different things. If you are feeling an emotional void, then you're never going to be satisfied with how much food you're eating. You could be completely physically stuffed and it will never be enough food to mask your pain. And I know lots of vegans might fight me on this and say that's not true, but veganism is a limiting diet. Technically, it is. You're limiting yourself from different foods that you can eat because we don't live in a vegan world. If we lived in a vegan world, of course it wouldn't be a limiting diet, but we live in a non-vegan world full of non-vegan people and non-vegan food. So by definition, that is a limiting diet. So whenever you put that on someone who has an eating disorder or doesn't know they have an eating disorder, it makes things worse. For some people, it helps them. For others, it makes them worse. For me, it made it worse, and it made it abundantly clear that I need to work out my shit with food. The next piece of advice I have for new vegans in 2019 is don't follow influencers' specific vegan diets because you want to achieve their physical appearance. If someone eats a bunch of potatoes, a bunch of starchy foods and vegetables and like a very little amount of fat, and you love the way they look, or they've had a weight loss transformation that has been so amazing, I would caution you to not just jump on that way of eating just because this specific person had those results. I think it's important to remember that we are all different. Our bodies, our microbiome, it's all completely different from each other, and one vegan diet might not work for someone else. I find that a lot of people who are naturally slim and slender thrive on a high carb, low fat vegan diet. That's amazing. I have nothing against people who eat high carb, low fat. For me personally, it messed up my hormones. I did lose a little weight eventually, but then I gained it back. And on top of that, I gained a lot of hormonal imbalances, and I was missing a lot of nutrients that were necessary for me to eat to balance out my body in general. I wasn't eating enough micronutrients. I was following people's what I eat in a day videos because I liked the way they looked, and I thought if I ate that way, I would achieve those same results. And that's simply not true. So if you are a curvier woman or man, if you have like big boobs and a butt and just a curvier body in general, you hold more fat on your body, the good kind of fat, you're THICC thick, then you might thrive on a higher fat diet, and that is okay. And thank God for YouTube and the vegan community evolving, because there are so many people now who are doing vegan keto and higher fat, higher protein vegan, and I think that is so amazing. The diversity is really coming a long way. Then when I first went vegan back in 2015, it was pretty sparse. Back then, there was only one way of eating, and if you weren't eating that specific diet, you were wrong, and you were gonna be unhealthy. So the third piece of advice I wanna give is be self-aware in how you are acting and treating your non-vegan friends. Now, like I said in the beginning, it's a very exciting time when you first go vegan. You are fired up, but the other people in your life are not fired up about it. So the best way, in my opinion, to promote veganism is to just live by example. Take pictures of food, post it on Instagram, show people how much you love life because you're vegan. Don't shove it in people's face, because honestly, it will have the adverse effect on people. It have the opposite effect. People will be like, oh, you are so obnoxious. You're trying to shove your beliefs, your lifestyle down my throat. When really, people are influenced by people who are just happy and thriving and not really shoving it in people's faces and being like, you should do this, don't do this, don't do that. Because people don't like being told what to do. We don't, especially a person like me. I'm a natural born rebel. I'm a rebel without a cause. Like, if someone tells me, hey, don't do this, then I will do the opposite. And also remember that you used to eat meat and dairy as well. So always come from an attitude of empathy. Always have empathy and gratitude wherever you go, always, but especially in this case, and have patience, have understanding, and have compassion for other people. Because ultimately, if we can't successfully reach people with the vegan message and help inspire them to go vegan or more plant-based in general, then it will never go mainstream. It won't, because people are what change the world. And then my fourth piece of advice or wisdom is veganism is not your sole identity. It's not. And I know right now, at the first stages of being vegan or interested in going vegan, you think it's your absolute world. You're like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. This is the message that I need to be sharing with the world. But let me just tell you, you are destined for even greater things. You are. It's not just veganism. I would challenge you to think further than veganism, because your identity does not lie solely in that. And I hate to say it, but it is true, and I need to. Someday you might choose not to be vegan. Years down the road, months down the road, whatever the case may be, you might choose to start eating animals again for whatever reason. And if you stop being vegan and you made that your entire life, your entire purpose, and then you go back on that, it will cause you so much turmoil, so much pain, so much heartbreak. You're just gonna have an identity crisis. But at the end of the day, veganism is not who you are. It's just something that you do. It's something that you practice. It's something that you participate in. It might be something that you love to learn about and talk about with other people, but it does not define who you are. And then my fifth and final piece of advice is don't isolate yourself from your non-vegan peers, friends, families, etc. I know it's very tempting, because for me, I know that I was struggling with judging my friends and family for eating animals. I was very much into hardcore, I am vegan for this, and this reason. And I let it change my perception about how I saw other people. And if you are going through that right now, you find yourself subconsciously isolating yourself from people in your life that normally would give you so much joy and love and inspiration and drive. And I'm not saying that you should keep all your non-vegan friends in your life, because there's other factors that factor into like what makes someone a good person to be around. And maybe they're not supportive of you. Maybe they're not supportive of your vegan diet. In that case, I would maybe distance yourself, because that's just not the type of person you should be surrounded by. You shouldn't be friends with someone who's not supportive of your decisions, especially if it doesn't really affect them. So I would say definitely pay attention to who your friends are, but don't let go of the good people in your life just because they're not vegan. Don't isolate yourself. Do not become an island. Make vegan friends, sure. Go to meetups, go online, make online friends that are vegan, but don't shut yourself off from the people in your life just because they're not vegan. And that's it, guys. Those are my 5 tips and pieces of advice for new vegans of 2019. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment down below telling me your advice that you would have for new vegans and which piece of advice was your favorite and resonated with you the most. And if you're not subscribed, make sure that you hit that red subscribe button down below and turn on your post notifications so that you're notified every time I post a new video. Don't forget to take care of yourself this week, eat good food, and I will see you in the next one.